Continuing on with the top 50 prospects in the state of Florida, prospects number 45 through 41.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into the portal where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime recruiting analyst and writer. Thank you for making Locked On the Portal your first listen each and every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com. We're going to continue on 45 through 41. It's been a difficult process to get down to this point, but we were really looking at some elite football players, so let's not waste any more time. The first guy that I want to talk about is a prospect that I've seen multiple times, and quite honestly, he's a kid that took the trek across the United States to go to IMG Academy, and he loves the competition. He doesn't shy away from competition. He loves to compete, and that is Ksani Jiles. He's from Inglewood, California, just outside of LA, and now being at IMG, he's just a mature kid that's figured it out. He's recently committed to the University of Washington, going to play defensive back there. I think he could play nickel, corner, or safety, but he projects at corner. He's about 6 foot, 180 pounds. And this is a guy that's finally started to put on some weight and grow into his body. Quiet guy, but his play speaks for himself. He had other opportunities, Ole Miss, Southern Cal, Notre Dame, possibly Ohio State. He had a lot of different chances, but he's decided on the Washington Huskies. What I like best about Jiles is the fact that against really good competition every day, especially in practice at IMG, he doesn't shy away from that either. And I've been told by different people, this is a kid that just competes. That secondary at IMG makes itself better because they're all really good and they're all competing with each other to get to a high level. But I think Jiles, just like so many of the other kids there, they tick a little bit differently. So I would not be surprised if the Huskies used him at nickel if they needed him. If somebody got hurt and they needed him at strong safety, he'd be happy to fill the void. He just wants to compete. At the IMG Pro Day recently, he looked really good to me in terms of just how confident he was going through drills and everything. So again, Ksani Jiles is a guy that I wish all the best to. Good kid. Good luck to him at the University of Washington. Next up, ironically, another guy also at IMG Academy, and that's Preston Carey. Totally different position, though. 6'4", about 300 pounds. This is a defensive tackle that is originally from Long Island. He has offers from across the country, Miami, Florida, Georgia. Georgia's a school he's really interested in. He's curious about the whole two-gap system that they run. He's a guy that could go to numerous places. I don't know where he's going to go, and I'm not sure Preston really knows at this point, but I do know watching him and seeing him again recently at the Pro Day, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life, and I think that he's a kid that will probably end up playing a little bit earlier than some other guys would because of his mentality. He could have stayed in New York, but he decided to come down to IMG, much like Jiles. He wanted to compete, and he's going to get the best coaching that he can and try to get on the field as fast as he can. So good for him. He's got over 50 offers for a reason. 300 pounds and able to two-gap. That makes me think that he has a chance to be a guy that's a little different in terms of how he's graded at the college level too. So far as a projection, I could see him being a 2-eye. I could see him being a guy that also plays 4-eye. I could see him being a straight up a nose. You can do all kinds of different things with him to make it really difficult on a guard or a center or a tackle, depending on how you're going to play your alignment as an offensive line too. He will make it difficult, really strong. One of the best plays on his highlight tape, he gets double teamed, still works his way to his left and gets in on a tackle. Getting a tackle and a stuff at the line of scrimmage, being double teamed at the same time is really, really hard. Like the kid's effort a lot, and he's a big time player long term. Can't find enough 300 pounders to play D-line, by the way. That never goes out of style. Next, Zion Legree. This is a kid from Pensacola. Doesn't get enough attention, in my opinion, because of where he's from, but he's physically mature for a wide receiver. He's around 200 pounds. Very, very strong. Upper body. He's going to win most of the competitions for a jump ball. He's also going to win most of the opportunities to get in and out of his break against the DB because they're not as strong as him. They're trying to body up with him. Not too many guys in the secondary can handle Legree. Good hands, catches the ball away from his body, plays at Pine Forest. He's committed to Ole Miss. I'm sure schools are still going to come after him like all these other kids, but committed to the Rebels. He would fit in very, very well with Lane Kiffin's scheme because they can use him in multiple ways. He's a pretty good route runner, so I'd be curious to see if Kiffin started him out at just one spot and let him learn it, or try to do different things with him, because Kiffin's offense is complex in terms of finding different ways to get guys the ball, but he seems to play freshmen really early, so that would be an interesting fit for him. When we come back, we got two more guys that I've seen play multiple times, including this year. That is next here on the Portal. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. That's $200 to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. For me, it's about those Cinderella stories. I always like to follow the teams that have the opportunity to pull the upsets. I think it's fascinating, especially those teams that can shoot threes, possibly looking at a wager on somebody that's a great three-point shooter, point total, number of three-pointers they hit, halftime score, lots of different options. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Continuing on with our list, DJ Williams, corner / safety / receiver from Carrollwood Day in Tampa. Most likely, I see him playing corner at the next level. He's a long and slender kid, 6'1", 6'2", 170, 180 pounds. He's a guy that just wants to play football. Seen him since he was a sophomore. I've always liked him. He's played with Team Tampa. He's at Carrollwood Day, which is a well-coached school. I don't think it's going to matter where he plays. He'll be productive. But from what I've heard, most people think he'll end up at corner long-term. Now, what does he bring to the table in terms of all-around skills? His biggest attribute is his ability to change direction. That's always been the thing that I've noticed about him. For a kid that is as long as DJ is, he can really move his feet out of a back pedal. That's why I think corner is the most likely. Don't count out nickel. He could definitely play that spot too, but I like him at corner overall. Don't really care if it's field, boundary, left, right, or any of that. DJ Williams is a really good athlete, and I think he will do well no matter where he goes. His recruitment is pretty wild. Kansas, Missouri, Ole Miss, there's been all kinds of schools after him. Let's see where his OBs end up taking him. But right now, I think there's a lot of different possibilities. Finally, Devin Jackson, another DB, could play safety, maybe play corner, depending on the scheme, from First Academy in Orlando. He's committed to the Florida Gators. I think that he will be a kid that rises up the recruiting rankings even more. He's kind of been a late bloomer, but that doesn't really matter. It's not where you start. It's where you finish. The size that he has, he's over 6 foot. He's 190 pounds. That's going to help him adjust to playing in the Southeastern Conference. But more importantly, it's his ability to have elite ball skills, win the balls in the air, and make it a play on it. Not many guys have that, even if they have the athleticism. It's still about maximizing what you have as your God-given talent. Devin Jackson's been a little underrated in that regard, and the Florida Gators got in on him early. They got him to commit. I'll be curious to see if he can make an impact in a secondary that needs a lot of help. So hopefully for the Gators fans, they get that fixed this year. But Florida needs DBs, and Jackson was one of the first guys they really went after. And being from Orlando, he's less than 2 hours away. So I'm curious to see just how quickly he gets on the field, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was in the rotation as a freshman. Thank you once again for making this your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate you stopping in to get all the latest recruiting scoop here on the Portal. We also talk NIL, transfer portal, and anything else with roster management in the college football scene. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this podcast. We will see you again soon.